Yes, family. So part two of the last convo I had. Yeah. So Easy's gonna break down and give a little bit more of a clearer understanding of how it goes in the digestive system. Yeah. So we're gonna jump straight into it because I'm gonna be breaking down of information. I just want to get clarity in people's mind and head is the understanding of how it works. Yeah. So the first part of your digestive system starts off within your mouth. Yeah. So once you eat your food, the salivary glands secrete what you called MLAs and saliva. Yeah. So your teeth is breaking it down. The first interaction of enzymes are in your mouth, which MLAs that helps break down carbohydrates into what you called maltose and then maltose into glucose. Yeah. So this is the converting process of carbohydrates into sugars. Yeah. That starts off with your mouth. Yeah. Your mouth digests glucose. Yeah. But there's only a small amount of glucose get pushed into your bloodstream via mouth. Yeah. The rest of it will either get pushed down at the back of your throat, all the way down to your esophagus into your stomach. Yeah. And in your stomach, yeah, because the pH level is acidic, which is 2. Yeah. There ain't really there ain't no process of carbohydrates getting broken down by the amylase in your stomach. Yeah. There's other enzymes in there, which is pepsin and lipase that break down protein and fats. Yeah, that is occurring in your stomach. Yeah, your stomach's obviously pumps as well, so it breaks down the bolus and it turns it into what you call time. Yeah, time is what is the solution form. Yeah, of where a lot of the bolus is turned into. Yeah, where it's more of it's a breaking down process. That's what's happening. Yeah, for your small intestine to absorb the nutrients. Yeah, so now what happens is your pancreas get involved. Yeah, before the time gets into your small intestines. Yeah, so the pancreas juice, no, so pancreas secrete a juice called pancreas juice, and what is in it? There's one fluid which is sodium carbonate. Yeah, and another enzymes. Well, amylase get secreted as well, but this is like alpha. It's alpha amylase, so it's different. It's different to the amylase that gets secreted by the salivary gland. This is more of an active breakdown process that the alpha amylase gets secreted via pancreas. Yeah, so this is where a lot of the converting and the chemical reactions happen via your pancreas. Yeah, so the pancreas secrete the assisting, not all of it, but the assisting carbohydrates into maltose and glucose. Yeah, and then the sodium hydrogen carbonate um um buffers the acidic time that came from your stomach. Yeah, turning it into alkaline for your small intestines to absorb it. Yeah, so your small intestines, yeah, the duodenum and the jejunum are the um parts of your small intestine that absorb the glucose, the the minerals and etc. Yeah, the nutrients. Yeah, nutrients is part. The glucose is part of the nutrients. Yeah, so the villi absorb all of that, and then you got the intrinsic factor and the fats that get absorbed by the ileum part of your small intestines. Yeah, and then the existing starch and carbohydrate. Yeah, that because not all of it get converted into glucose, gets pushed down. Yeah, into what you called your large intestines. Yeah, your large intestines got say mucus cells which secrete um mucus mucus and also mucus and also mucus and also yeah, I just lost the train of thought. But yeah, so your large intestine secretes mucus and all that, and it also performs what you call perotosis. Yeah, perotosis is where the pushing of your bolus or your time or the leftover occurs, yeah. So your large intestines also go through perotosis to push out the waste material, basically, yeah. And in your large intestine, you have the large number of microorganisms that feeding off the starch and the starch and the carbohydrates that get left over, and then the rest of it goes out of your system. So that's a clearer understanding of how the digestive system works here. So we're gonna push more into enzymes, yeah, because the thing is, when I was breaking down enzymes, I was profounding on the fact that it's a chemical reaction, yeah. So what I'm gonna do now is show you how it is and how it works, and profound on it a little bit more. So we're gonna jump straight onto enzymes, yeah. So enzymes, yeah, are protein or molecules, yeah. So not all enzymes are protein, yeah, but majority of them are they, yeah, and then the other ones are molecules, yeah. So these are all they all deal with chemical reactions. You have 75,000 enzymes in your body, yeah, and there is 1,300 different types of enzymes in your body, yeah. You find enzymes in fruit, yeah, and other dietary, yeah, but the chemical reaction is all profounded in your body, yeah. Each organ in your body has different types of enzymes, yeah. They're either named differently or they are the same, but they under the circumstances of where they're living, they would be different. So that means that what I'm saying is that they can perform the same type of acts, yeah, and chemical reactions as other enzymes and be called other enzymes, but if the environment of where they are is different, then it will be a different enzyme. For example, now you have like just say, for example, you have enzymes in your pancreas and there's enzymes in your stomach, yeah. The enzymes in your stomach doesn't function because of the acidic environment. The enzymes in your pancreas would have a active state because of the pH level, the potential is the percentage of hydrogen in the pancreas. So that's how it works, yeah. Enzymes would work if the pH level is up to their standard. That's how it goes. So you will find enzymes in organs that are inactive because of the environment of the pH level. Yeah, so that means that it can't perform the chemical reaction. Yeah, because that's all it is. Yeah, you find enzymes in cells. Yeah, probiotics, not probiotic, prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Yeah, so like for example, for a eukaryotic cell, you find an enzyme, you have mitochondrial, yeah. Even RNA are enzymes, yeah, because they convert and they create chemical reactions, yeah. So that's the breakdown of enzymes, yeah. So you can find enzymes as protein and you can find enzymes as molecules, yeah. So we're gonna talk a little bit more, and the way that it works, yeah. This is one of there's three methods of how enzyme works, yeah. But I'm gonna show you the basic one that everyone knows, which is the key and lock way, the key and lock method, yeah. And I'm gonna draw it out for you. So this is how enzymes work. Let me see. So obviously I got my board here. So enzymes, yeah, this is the key and lock method or way of how enzyme work, yeah. So it's what you call, so enzymes is basically a molecule or a protein, yeah. So I just draw that, a molecule or protein, yeah, that's an enzyme. So for example, we're dealing with amylase, yeah. So this is amylase, yeah, which is the enzyme, yeah. And then now you have something called the substrate, yeah. That is the carbohydrate. Substrate is the carbohydrate. And then you got the enzyme, yeah, which is the amylase, yeah. So that's how it goes. That's how it works. I'm a boy, tissue man. Yeah. Give me a second. And then bring out a tissue. So, let me rub off this board. Yeah, so, as I just showed you, the carbohydrate is the substrate and the enzyme is the amylase, yeah? So, what happens is, basically, the enzymes goes around, yeah, picks up the carbohydrate, yeah, the substrate. But the thing is the fact that the enzyme has a specific structure is the fact that it can't pick up anything. It's like epithelial cells and how they got a specific receptor, yeah. Epithelial cells are found in the respiratory system. This is what COVID-19 virus attached to, yeah? Attached to epithelial cells. So you find epithelial cells in your respiratory, in your mouth, and everywhere, yeah? So COVID only can attach to epithelial cells, yeah? So that's why the RNA virus, yeah? Because it only attached to epithelial cells. Epithelial cells you will find in your immune, your colon, around your lungs, and it's all around where your respiratory system works, yeah, your lungs, yeah. So these cells are around there. COVID-19 can only attach to epithelial cells, yeah, via receptor, because they have because the virus has a receptor that only attached to the epithelial receptor, which is ACE2 and the transmembrane protease 2, yeah. So that's how it works. So this is similar to how enzyme works, yeah. Enzymes, specific enzymes, which is amylase, and then a substrate, which is the carbohydrate, yeah. So amylase is constructed in a shape which only carbohydrates, which is a substrate, can fit in. So that's how it works, yeah. So the enzymes is basically get secreted by, for example, the salivary gland, and then when your teeth and everything is mushing down your food, substrates, particles would occur, and then the enzyme finds and connect them into, yeah. That's what you call the lock and key model, yeah. Yeah, so that's how it works, yeah. And what happens is the enzymes lock into it as it fits in, yeah. That's the substrate, yeah, substrate, and that's the enzyme. It creates a chemical reaction within here, taking out ions and everything, yeah. This is like, I'm breaking down the basic understanding of what happens, yeah, but I'm dealing with, there's other models that will break it down more complex, yeah, when they start dealing with how the reactions happen. Ions and all that get converted and get taken away and then pushed in, and then that's how the process works, and then it gets released, yeah. Then it gets released, yeah. And this substrate is now turned into what you called glucose, yeah. And that's how it works. That's how the basic understanding of how enzyme works. There are 75,000 enzymes within your body and 1,300 different types, yeah. So you will find and amylase, there's many. Like I said, there's 1,300 different types, yeah. So depending on what, like even up to lactase, and lactose, yeah. Lactase is the enzyme, yeah, and lactose is what the substrate is. You see what I'm saying? That's the substrate into the enzyme. And if you're lactase or lactose intolerant, then what you find is that the enzymes, for one, you can't produce a lot of lactase, yeah, which is the enzymes that convert the lactose for your cells to neutralize. This is all a way of making the substrate able for your cells to pick up via receptor and then convert into energy. This is what, and then so straight back to amylase, yeah. So when this substrate get converted into what you call glucose. This glucose can now get pushed through via to the bloodstream, or via for your mouth, yeah, or via your small intestine through the villi, yeah. These substrates or enzymes now, because now it's got converted to a different type of enzyme, which is glucose. So now glucose is turned into an enzyme called the carbohydrate is turned into an enzyme called glucose. Now the cells pick them up. Yeah, so I'm gonna give you the heads up of the breakdown of how carbohydrates turn into what you call glucose, yeah, and then gets pushed into your bloodstream, and how your cells pick them up via receptors, yeah, and then convert the glucose into what you call APT, yeah, and then convert it into energy for your body, yeah. So I just broke down how the glucose now has been converted. The carbohydrate has been converted into glucose. Now the cell, obviously the cell, you got organelles, yeah, within the cell, yeah, the mitochondrial, the Golgi apparatus, you got ribosomes in the rough part of your endoplasmic reticulum. You got organelle, which is the mitochondrial, yeah. So the mitochondrial, because that deals with the energy. So I'm talking about that because we're dealing with amylase, yeah, and sugars. Now I would say, yeah, sugars, glucose, yeah. So I'm gonna be talking about other the other organelles, and then obviously you got the nucleus with the DNA, and then the converter. I'm gonna break down how RNA is a enzyme and how it works, yeah. So now glucose is the enzyme that gets that glucose is the enzyme that is floating around, which is the sugar, yeah, that's floating around. The cell now picks it up via receptors, yeah. You got ACE2. This is how cells eat, yeah. So now the glucose comes and it eats it. It gets picked up by the receptors, gets pushed through into what you call the cytoplasma, yeah, which is the jelly side inside the cell, yeah, and then get picked up by what you call the mitochondrial, yeah. What happens in there, which is mitochondria is the organelle, and also is the enzyme because it performs chemical reactions, yeah. So it converts the glucose into what you call ATP, and then it get converted into what you called energy. It get used for energy. So that's how it works, on a quick breakdown of how enzyme works, yeah. So RNA, how is RNA an enzyme, yeah? How? What RNA does is all chemical reactions. So now we got RNA. No, we got the nucleus and the DNA inside there, and you got what you called all the organelles, which is the endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi apparatus. Yeah. So basically, the fact that how cells make other protein, yeah, is via, you will have sequence which is in the DNA, and then the RNA get produced through a sequence. This is how protein are made, yeah. The RNA, which is the pre-RNA, takes sequence from the DNA, yeah. So sample of the DNA, the sequence, yeah, which is all the adenine, the guanine, the thymine, and the uracil, yeah. So RNA takes a sequence with it and convert that pre-RNA, which converts it within the nucleus, yeah, which would add, instead of the thymine, you will have instead of the thymine you have, actually no, instead of the thymine you have uracil, sorry. So you have the cysteine, you have the thymine, you have the adenine, the thymine, the cysteine, and what's the last one? The last one is the guanine. The guanine, yeah, that's in DNA. The pre-RNA converts the thymine to uracil. This makes it acceptable, yeah, for it to be leaving the nucleus. Yeah, for that's pre-RNA. The pre-RNA makes messenger RNA, which then the message gets sent from the DNA into the endoplasmic reticulum through messenger RNA. The translation happens where the ribosomes picks up via polypeptides and then create what you called protein. Yeah, so that happens. Yeah, and then obviously through translations, they add them all together into a structure. What is the DNA is set out to produce out through the cell. Yeah, and then via to that, it gets pushed into what you call the Golgi apparatus, where everything gets sealed and packaged into a cell form, and then it gets pushed out of a cell. So all of these are all chemical reactions. This is how RNA is a chemical. No, this is how RNA is a enzyme. And that's how it works. So that's a breakdown of how enzyme works. Yeah, from amylase in your mouth, turning it to glucose, and how your cells pick them up via receptors and then use them for energy. Yeah, and then how RNA is an enzyme and how it is utilized to create protein and other cells. Yeah, so that's the breakdown of enzymes. That's a full understanding of enzymes, the key and lock method. And yeah, so we can definitely make that clear. And obviously there's enzymes, what you find in fruits and all of that. So enzymes in fruit you will find is protease. Yeah, protease then get converted by your protease helps the breakdown of protein. So there's other, so that's how it goes. When you eat fruit, it produces some enzymes, and then the stomach acid gets involved, and then all these pepsin convert those do all the chemical reaction to help it break down to a eatable form for your cells to utilize, and then you will benefit through the energy from it. So that's how and why you should eat fruits and healthy food, because your cells eat off it. The bad food don't generate these chemical reactions, and then if it does, it's going to cause havoc for yourself and death to your cells, and you can't utilize them. That's why you're going to feel that you're going to get weak, and you're going to be vulnerable to a lot of diseases, because you're not utilizing the right food. Yeah, because the cells are not utilizing the right food as well. Yeah, so that's how it goes. I'm definitely going to create another episode about the reasons why you need to be eating fruit. I'm just going to give you a heads up of the reason why you need to be eating fruit, because there's going to be a lot of polyphenol and phytochemicals. We're going to be talking a little bit more about how negative ions and positive ions affect our cells, yeah, via free radicals. And this is all done through the pollution and the tampering of microorganisms that's in the ocean that helps the producing of oxygen. Yeah, so oxygen can and does cause free radicals in your cells. Free radicals can also cause what you called abnormal cells, which are later on potential cancer cells. So that's how it works. Yeah, and then fruits and polyphenols, yeah, and phytochemicals, yeah, and antioxidants is what is the counteract, and to counteract these abnormal cells to be breeded and cancer cells to be formed. So this is the reason why antioxidants and fruits are very vital for your dietary, and why you need to implement them in your life. Yeah, so that's enzymes, and a quick breakdown of the digestive systems of how your cells utilize these foods. Yeah, so Easy's gonna shout straight back at you. Peace out. Yeah, so blessing, family.